I had been late a few times because I wasn't used to the bus schedule, and the lady that I relieved, she told me if I was late again, she was gonna have to tell the boss, and that kind of scared me because I was afraid to get in trouble or even lose my job, which I loved. And I just started to panic and looking at my watch, thinking, I'm gonna be late, I'm gonna get fired. And then I just heard the sweetest little voice say, "Excuse me, do you need a ride?" And I thought, yeah, I do, but you're a stranger. So my initial reaction was, I looked at him and I said, no, no thanks, I don't need a ride. Thank you though. He was just gonna leave. And so I had a split second to think, and I was thinking, I need a ride. He offered me a ride. I'm gonna lose my job. He's leaving. If he were some sort of psycho, why would he just leave? I think he would come try to drag me into the car or something. And so I actually yelled to him, yeah, okay, yeah, I'll take a ride. When we were pulling up to my work, he said, so how about I pick you up in the morning and we go to breakfast? So I thought, I'm just gonna give him a fake number. That always tells them you're not interested. They call it once and then you never hear from them again. It was him. It was just him from the night before, the happy-go-lucky, nice, still little scrawny guy that was totally harmless. And I thought, okay, I'll get a ride home with him, then I'm never gonna talk to him again, you know? And so I got in the car, and there was just a little talk about, how was your night? Oh, good, how was your night? Just typical stuff. And then all of a sudden he said, you know that phone number you gave me? And I thought, oh gosh. And he said, that was the wrong effing phone number. And he just turned into a completely different person and started yelling, started cussing. He just became something that I had never seen before. He just became evil. He pushed my head into the dashboard and he pulled my arms behind my back and he started pulling twine out from under the seat and tying my hands with twine. And I started asking him if it was a joke. What was he gonna do to me? And he said, shut up, bitch. And he leaned over and he locked my door and he put my seatbelt on me and then he pulled the lever on the side of my seat and then he just pushed my chest and I went all the way back. And then he just kept driving and I just stared at the roof. He pulled over and he climbed into the passenger seat where I was at. He took my shoes off and he started hitting me with them in the face and screaming at me and calling me a bitch. And he took his knife out and he just started trying to cut my shorts off of me. Then he cut my underwear off of me on both sides and just pulled them out. And that was the first time I thought he's done this before. He was just do, you know. This was nothing for him. He's done it before. My arms are still tied behind my back. He lifts my feet way up in the air and I just fall into the trunk. And then he slams it shut. And then he gets in the driver's side and starts the car and starts to drive back towards civilization. Then I just got adrenaline and hysterical strength and confidence all of a sudden. and I didn't feel scared. And then I just started going like that and trying to pull my arms apart. And I kept doing it, and maybe for a minute nothing would happen and I wouldn't quit, and I just kept trying it, and then I heard pop, 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 and the twine was coming off. And then eventually it all came off, and I was just like, oh my gosh, okay, I got that done, now what? Now I need to get out of the trunk. And so I went like this, and I felt where the middle of the trunk would be. And then there was a bunch of board, the carpeted board over that. So I started ripping it all off, and then I twisted the lever, and then I saw light coming all in. He was driving pretty fast, and I could hear him talking under his breath and pushing the gas, and then he got stuck in the sand. That's when I threw the trunk open and I jumped out, and my hand got caught. And I started trying to pull my hand out, and then his door opened, and when I saw his door open, I just ripped my hand out of there, and I just took off running. And I kept thinking to myself, don't look back, because I knew he was behind me. I didn't know if I wanted to know how close he was, but I kept thinking, don't look back, don't look back. My curiosity got the best of me, and I turned around and looked back, and he was chasing me down the road with a machete. And then I saw a truck coming towards me, and so I was just screaming, putting my hands up, and running towards that truck as fast as I could. And the next thing I knew, they were opening the doors and pulling me into the truck. They had no tire prints, tire tracks, because when they went to look for them, a bulldozer had already run over them to clean the sides of the street. Just everything went in his favor in the way of evidence. There was nothing. They told me to come down to the police station, so I went down there, and they said that they might have caught the guy who had done this to me 5 years ago. And I was like, oh my gosh. And they said, okay, we want you to look away, and we're gonna put down some pictures. And so I looked at the pictures, and right away he stood out, and I said, it's this one. The detective kind of sat back, picked up the picture, and he said, well, this is the guy that did this to you. He knows your name, he knows everything about you, and this guy also is a serial killer who killed 8 women, and you're the only one that got away.